Good day, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Today, we will be learning the third topic on my YouTube channel about education. Okay, so I have discussed there the pillars of education, the Bloom's taxonomy, and today the roles of assessment. Okay. Okay, so what are our essential skills? We must be good listener, and of course the goal to pass and top the exam. Because if you have the goal, of course you'll do your best to truly understand what is the topic being discussed, right? So please have that goal. Do not just have the goal to learn the topic. Because why not? Why are you learning the topic? Because just to take the exam? No. You must have the goal to pass or even top the lead. Okay? Now, let's start in defining what's assessment, huh? Because my topic here is about the roles of assessment. Now, let's define first what's an assessment. Okay, when we say assessment, it is carried out to see what the learners understand and are able to do. Okay, assessment is carried out to see what the learners understand and able to do, and it's very important for tracking progress, planning steps, and reporting and involving parents, children, and young people in learning. Okay, if you have experience practice teaching, this is part usually of our lesson plan, diba? We have drills, we have review to see our students' level of understanding about the certain topic. Then after discussing the topic, we also have quiz, diba? Or before that quiz, we have seat works for mathematics. We have board works or recitation for English, diba? Those who have practice teaching. No, those who have experienced practice teaching, you've done assessment. Huh? You carry this out to see what the learners understand and able to do. Okay? And for our supervisors, for our principals, di ba? These assessment of the teachers like the NAT, the National Assessment Test, ang mga unit test na ginagawa nyo, ang mga quarter results, di ba? Quarter grades, quarter exam results, di ba? These are utilized in tracking the progress of these students, planning next steps, no? If you found out that these students have low level of mathematics critical thinking skills, should I say that way, then your next step is to what? What should you do next, diba? Reporting and involving parents and children and young people in learning. Okay, so if you are not a teacher, if since you were a student before, diba, na-experience nyo na si ma'am, diba si ma'am, after mag-lesson, mag-quiz talaga, sa math, after kung hindi man mag-quiz, mag-group work, tapos may representative to report, may mag-answer sa board, that's assessment. Kasi ginagawa yan ni ma'am at sir para ma-understand niya kung ano ang kaya mo, ano ang kinaya mo, anong alam mo. Okay? So that's assessment pala. And we have roles. Okay, ano kaya ang mga roles? Kasi this is the general thought of what an assessment is, and we have roles. Okay? We have here three: assessment for learning, assessment of learning, and assessment as learning. So, four of us. Look, what if God us, four of us. Okay, that's not it ha, that's not the lyrics. Para hindi mo lang makalimutan. Just as love like four of us. Di ba? Wala yun. Okay, so we have four of us. Okay? As. As. Okay. Assessment for learning, assessment of learning, these are the three roles. Now, let's define this and explain this with you individually. Okay, let's have first assessment for learning. Okay, for learning. Okay, kasi usually in the board exam, ganito, may choices na ganito tatlo, tapos kung hindi mo alam, sorry, hindi mo magigets, hindi mo ma-answer correctly. Okay, what's assessment for learning? Assessment for learning is a type of assessment that aids teachers in gaining insights in what students know in order to plan and guide instruction and how to provide essential feedback to learners. Okay, Baka sabihin mo, Sir, same-same lang naman yan sa definition sa assessment as a whole, sa umbrella definition of an assessment. Yes, of course, because this is a role, one of the roles of assessment. So of course, it's just the same, similar, somehow like that, similar to the main definition of assessment. Pero, ang tandaan natin here is that assessment for learning is talking or would define similarly to formative assessment. So, ang tatandaan nyo, okay, here, para hindi makalimutan, kung assessment for learning, so these are formative assessment. Now, let's define formative assessments. Ito ang mga assessment na ginagawa ng teacher before the class begins, during class discussion, and after that very end of the lesson. Okay. Oh, sige, look back at your experience, no, during your practice teaching or when you were a student in high school. Yung math teacher mong favorite teacher. Kaya pala ginagawa ni teacher, magpa-pretest muna siya for 10 items. Tapos, during the discussion, may pa-seat work pa si teacher, may pa-recitation pa. Then after, binalik ang question, post-test siya, 10 items rin. So that's it. That's the example pala of formative assessment. Okay? So if that's the case, because in this role, the teachers want to gain insight into what students know. Baka kasi, no, before starting the lesson, example, I'll be teaching laws of exponents. So before I'll start with the lesson, I have pretest first to know the level of understanding or the learning of these learners about the law of exponents. Then, after checking, of course, the students know, based on experience, di ba, tayo ang mag-check. Tayo pa ng-exam, tayo pa mag-check ano ba ang role ni teacher. Joke lang, di ba? So, after that, knowing na 2, 1 out of 10, 1 of the 0 out of 10. So, I would know that, so wala talaga silang knowledge, prior knowledge about this topic. So, I should teach more. I should teach very hard-workingly. May word bang ganyan? I should teach enthusiastically para talaga malaman ng learners ang topic about laws of exponents. Diba? Ganyan. Into what the students know. So if that's the case, so I have to plan for seat works, board work, more exercises, and provide essential feedback to learners. Okay? Assessments for learning, formative assessment. Before, during, and after that very end of the lesson. Now we have second one. Assessment of learning. Okay? So, if an assessment for learning, at tatanda natin is formative assessment. 4. Ang assessment of learning naman ay type of assessment that informs school stakeholders. Now, we have the roles here. Inform stakeholders. Kasi, sa assessment for learning, usually to inform the teacher of what the students know at that moment, in the moment, or after that moment, the topic being discussed. But now, let's go to higher authority. Should I say higher authority? Because this is the type of learning that informs school stakeholders, di ba? Of achievement at a certain point in time to celebrate success or to plan for intervention and support continued progress. Okay, baka sabihin mo, kaya pala, most of the time, may quizzes pa si teacher. Tapos, may pa-quarter exam pa siya after 3 months. Bakit kaya ganyan? Because this type of assessment, this role of assessment wants to inform the school heads, the school principals, even the parents of the achievement at that certain point in time. Because if the grades are high, then they should celebrate success, di ba? Kasi kung mga 90 above ang mga score based on the assessment given, then, of course, celebration. Pero kung mga 70, especially sa NAT, ang liliit ang mga score, then plan for interventions. Ano kaya ang next na gagawin ni teachers, ng mga teachers, para ma-improve ang learning and to support continued progress if it's good. Di ba? If ang result ay good. Di ba? So, Anong tatandaan nyo if it's assessment of learning? So if this case, so para matandaan, it's sum of topics. Sum of, para malagay talaga si of, ha? Kasi yung formative assessment, yung assessment for learning, I mean, is formative. Ha? Ang assessment for learning. Ha? Ang assessment for learning, formative. Ang assessment of learning, summative. Summative, may H pala. Summative or sum of. Ha? May of. Para hindi mawala na. Kung assessment of learning, sum of learning or summative assessment. So, example ng mga summative assessments, yung ginagawa sa quarter exam, final exam, midterm exam, ganyan. Kasi it is performed at a certain point in time para malaman ng mga stakeholders. Of course, included din students nito, parents nito, teachers nito, di ba? Heads nito. Okay? So, sum of topics. So, quizzes, no, not quizzes because that's formative. Unit tests, quarter exams, final tests, like that. Ha? Kasi, example, yung teacher mo, natapos niya ang lahat ng Unit 1 na may 4 na chapter na topic. So, nagpa-unit test siya. So, that's a summative assessment. Okay? And for assessment as learning, ito for students na to. Okay? So, for students part na to, it's a reflection of learning. Kasi, it's a type of assessment where students develop an awareness of how they learn. Okay? And utilize that awareness to adjust and advance their learning, taking increased responsibility for their learning. For example, me myself, I had once a problem in solving quadratic equation, 'di ba? In giving the roots, 'di ba? Kasi ang alam ko noon lang na way is quadratic formula. So, pag gamit ng quadratic formula, hindi ko kasi makuha kasi may time na hindi talaga makuha, may imaginary. Tapos I reflect kasi sa mga exam results ko, low lang or passing. So, sinabi ko I should study, baka may mga ways pa. At may mga ways pala, hindi ko kasi lang narinig si teacher, hindi kasi nag-listen ni teacher, di ba? May factoring pala, di ba? May completing the square na process. So, ganyan. So, for assessment as learning, ang tatandaan nyo is here, assessing oneself. Now, reflecting, you are having their reflection kung ano ang dapat mong gawin para maka-learn ka sa topic. Okay? So, assessing oneself. So, assessment as learning. Okay? That's it. Ganyan. Ganyan lang na ganyan. I know you have experienced that. You were once a student, high school, you have the realization, especially after giving the results, na, ay, na-wrong ako nito, labi na sa mga competitive, na kahit isang wrong na problema na, ay, bakit ako na-wrong? Ay, kaya pala ganyan. See, may mga ganyan tayo na mga times. And that's assessment as learning. So, we'll have examples of this. Like questions, ha? You answer first before I explain, or pause the video and answer that, then I'll explain, okay? Now let us have situations, okay? So these are like questions that may or may not, but hopefully will be out in the exam, no, in the let exam. Number 1, teacher Kevin, a math teacher, used to provide series of worksheets at the beginning and during instruction to assess students' learning in algebra. What role of assessment is emphasized out? Diba? Na-explain na kanina. Diba? Yung isa, sum of learning or summative learning. So, mga unit test yon, mga quarter exam, mga midterm final. But, ang isa naman, sige, individual natin, no, para lang malaman at ma-explain pa. Kung assessment as learning, this is a reflection on the side of the students. So, walang parang reflection dito ng students na maka-learn siya pag ganito ang gagawin niya sa algebra. Hindi. Di ba? Tapos, used to provide series of worksheets at the beginning. Ay, sinabi pa lang at the beginning and during. Ay, tak-tak na. Sorry. Tanggal na si of. Diba? This is sum of topic. Sum of learning. Ay. Of course, let's go to the third choice. Very easy, di ba? Parang hindi na mag-take ng 30 seconds pa. It's assessment for learning. It's formative, giving students at the beginning or during instruction activities to understand what the students are capable to do. That, of course, walang assessment in learning. So, of course, yan ang una mong i-remove. Yan ang way. O remove, pang char-char lang yan. O sige, remove pa. Galit na galit. Okay? That's it. Basic lang. Walang 30 seconds, ma-answer mo pa lang ang situations ng roles of assessment. Number 2, Nancy, a district supervisor, noticed students' performance in science is declining. That is why, walang comma no, ano ba to? Erase, erase. That is why she asked the science teachers of the schools under her to do unit tests and report to her every quarter the development. What role of assessment is emphasized? Ay, para talagang hindi na mag-need ng 30 seconds pa to answer and to analyze. Of course, remove si in kasi hindi part ng role, tatlo lang ang na-explain. Question, ask yourself, is this a reflection of one's learner about his or her learnings? No, hindi nag-reflect. Remove si as, assessment oneself. Is this assessment happening in the meantime, at the moment, during, in the beginning, or after that very test? Very topic? No. So remove si formative. Or of. No. Erase, erase. Si formative is for learning. Diba? Best in reaction pa ako. So, remove formative. Ay, of course, ang na-remain, assessment of learning or sum of, because the district supervisor wants the teachers to do unit test tapos i-report sa kanya. 'Di ba? Ang purpose ng assessment of learning is to celebrate success if it's worth celebrating, or to plan for intervention. In this case, gusto ng district supervisor na magplan ang mga teachers ng intervention if ever sa mga unit test na ito hindi good ang results. Pero kung good, celebrate success, di ba? Pero in this case, the science performance is declining. So, she is somehow planning, maybe at the back of her mind, after doing the unit tests of this teacher every quarter and reporting that to her, then if it's truly declining, then she has an intervention now. Di ba? Wow, grabe pala ang concept ng assessment of learning, sum of topics, summative assessment. Kasi ang for, again, to give to you the idea, ang teacher na on the first hand makakita ng performance or ang capability ng student about that certain skill. Okay? Number 3, Rowella scored 10/40 in her English grammar exam. She got the checked papers back and realized her mistakes were mostly in the subject-verb agreements. She then got her notes. What's this? She then got her notes and removed that and searched reliable sources. Reliable. Ano ba tong mga question? Uy, parang ito i-edit muna, no? Reliable sources in the net, in the internet, to relearn the concepts. What role of assessment is emphasized? Now, ask yourself, may assessment, look at the choices. May assessment in learning ba? Wala, char-char lang. Ito ba ay nag-talk about summative test, midterm exam, kanang sum of topics? Hindi. So, remove si assessment of learning. So, remove. Kasi hindi ito nag-talk ng mga unit test, midterm, final. Nag-talk ba ito ng mga activities of the teacher during, before, or after the very end of the topic? Hindi. So, remove C4. Nag-talk ba ito ng realization ng isang estudyante? Paano siya na maka-learn pa ng certain topic kasi nakakuha siya ng maliit na score? Yes, it's the reflection, assessing oneself, assessment as learning. And that's it. Wow, basic na basic lang pala, sir. Yes, I hope you will really pass the exam, and I pray that these type of questions would be out in the examination, in the LET exam problem. Okay? 4. Teacher Annalie loves to group students after she discusses a particular topic and give them activity to determine their level of learning. What role of assessment is emphasized? Remove si N kasi hindi naman kasali. Yan ang way nyo. I'm giving you this para also sa exam kasi may time ang exam. The exam is timed. So, dapat remove mo na. Cancellation na. So, ito ba'y nag-talk about assessing oneself? No. Ito ba'y nag-talk about unit test, midterm exam, final exam? No. Some of is no. Ito ba'y nag-talk ng way ni teacher sa pag-determine ng learning ng students in that particular time sa pag-discuss niya ng topic? Yes. Yes. If that's the case, that's assessment for learning or the formative one. Okay? So, I want you to try number 5. At home, I want you to read that loudly or silently. It's up to you. Then please comment your answer and I'll just like and heart. And of course, answer you if your answer is correct or not. Huh? Congratulations for learning this topic. See you!